kind of conscious of kind of keeping it within this thing called Suede world, and that you know, hopefully it, you know, I'm very conscious of it not drifting into self-parody as well, and you know, still writing about kind of aspiring towards, you know, writing like the small town boy looking at the city, sort of, you know, that whole kind of dreaming of the city thing would be self-parody. So it needs to be sort of inverted somehow, and writing about the countryside and writing about sort of like the darker fringes of the countryside seemed quite fresh to me. And All the Wild Places was actually started off as a piece of music we wrote quite a long time ago, didn't it, Neil?
We wrote it for Bloodsport, so.
Yeah, it was a piano piece that you wrote, wasn't
yeah.
it?
And you didn't come up with anything then, but I said towards the end of making this record, I said to you, oh, let's try and revisit that, because it would kind of be, it might suit the feel of the record kind of thing.
Yeah.
When we came up with that kind of list of things we wanted on the record, I think we were after that kind of thing where it would be a song where there wasn't much of the band present on the song. It would be like Brett and an orchestra kind of thing, and that's what we kind of tried to do with that, but not just kind of do the usual thing of a kind of indie band goes to tacks on an orchestra onto their kind of big swooning ballad. You wanted to actually kind of build it from the ground up as a kind of as a different kind of song, rather than just kind of tacked on. So yeah, right from the start, we kind of built it up as a kind of an arrangement in its own right, rather than just here's an indie song done for strings.
It's the danger of an orchestra, isn't it? There's always a tendency to go for bombast. You know what I mean? It's kind of like, we've got this massive sounding thing, let's make it the Oneiden line. You know what I mean? And I think it might be the music at the start might be my favourite bit of the record. Really,
yeah, I love
really
the
love
kind of the string riff, isn't it?
And it's kind of, it's definitely, it's from a different world from most rock strings. It's from that Scott Walker, Wally Stott, Frank Sinatra,
that Nelson Riddle thing.
Orchestral to tell a story rather than orchestral to blow your hair back like a Maxwell effort.
Yeah, it's quite quiet.
Yeah,
and it's kind of, it doesn't do the normal thing of this huge kind of loud string thing. It's like that. The riff at the start is meant to make you feel a bit seasick and a bit kind of
and the way the two times kind of interweave is really really nice.
Well, I think it's kind of that. It's quite a young thing, isn't it? It's quite that Bronte-esque Wuthering Heights-y kind of thing. You think of like Kate Bush was like 14 when she wrote Wuthering Heights, I think. And Wuthering Heights, the Emily Bronte book, is kind of something that only really makes sense when you're a teenager. After that, it becomes a bit too. It's kind of a bit pungent as a kind of book, really. I think. It kind of makes sense as a kind of, you have to be in this kind of turmoil of teenagerhood to kind of make sense of it. And I think there's that kind of nature to that kind of thing, I think.
But I think it's more, it's kind of like, you know, it's the album's sort of set geographically in quite a specific place, but it sort of emotionally, it's about sort of you know, it's about kind of fear and the unknown and these sorts of things, and those are sort of much more primal kind of emotions. It's not sort of you know, the setting is almost it's a slight bit of a red herring, I think.
It's a way into the emotions, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a new way of reaching those old emotions.
It's not about the countryside, do you know what I mean? It's about sort of fear and kind of these sort of much more primal things, I think.
Yeah, you think of the countryside, you don't think of Chocolate Box there, you don't think of this bucolic haven. Is actually kind of, there's danger and kind of menace there as well, and that's kind of the side that you wanted to explore. In a way, it's irrelevant where it's set. It's about finding the menace wherever you look, I think.